Hello and welcome to Chasing Growth. The purpose is to encourage Christian leaders to get better. When you get better, everybody wins. The world around you get a little bit better and people reap the benefit of you growing and becoming better as a leader, as a person. So there's always space to keep growing. Before we start today, I want to answer a question I received a few months ago about this idea if there's people who cannot be coached. And I believe the answer is no. I believe you always can coach people. Now, you coach some people to grow, to advance, to do more, to become better. And sometimes you have to coach people out of the door. The reason because I'm saying that because it's a better approach when you try to help somebody. Let's say somebody's struggling with things, they're not fitting in, they're not getting the culture, they're always against things. And I know people say you just need to fire them, you just need to ask them to leave because they're a bad apple, etc. But I believe in giving people the opportunity. I believe that you have to give people the opportunity. So you should try to coach them to get out of that place and give them the opportunity. I have seen so many people who have been in a place where they were in any other place they will be fired. And I decided to coach them out of that. And now they're doing well, they're doing great. So I believe that everybody deserves the opportunity to be coached. Now, what I say, get coach them out of the door is because you also need to keep them accountable. You need to let them know that things have to change and that you will help them. And I think that's a way of coaching versus just saying, hey, you do this, all these things wrong, and you do it again, you're out. I believe the coaching is the answer. So yes, you can coach everybody. Some people to coach to grow, to keep moving forward, and some people you have to coach them to change or they have to go out of the door. So I hope that answered the question. If you have more questions, you always can email me, and the email is at the end of the videos, and it's in the podcast, etc. So today I want to talk about something that I believe is very important if you're a leader, and is a role that you play. And you may wondering what it is. It's a simple thing. I believe that leaders are peacemakers. And what does that mean? So I'm gonna give you three examples, the things that leaders do to bring peace to places, to environment, to culture, to groups, to teams. And I'm gonna talk about that, and I'm gonna talk also about the opposite. Let me start with the first thing. Um, Leaders de-escalate problems. So in other words, they don't make a big deal about everything. If you're a leader and you receive an email or a phone call and you react, and your first instinct is to accuse the person, and your first instinct is to uh, pay them back, your first instinct is to show how good you are because you know how bad they are, you're not a good leader. You may have a title, but actually people is not following you because you are an influential leader. They're following you because maybe out of fear. As a leader, we're supposed to de-escalate problems, bring the conflict down, where people can see clearly, when we can explain and there can be solution and can be agreement and forgiveness. So as leaders, we have to constantly de-escalate the problem. It's not just to make it worse, not to call this other person, not to call the other person and tell them what happened and make a big deal so you look good, or you're trying to make sure that it's not your fault. If you're doing that, you're not a good leader. You're not escalating problems. And all you are a manager. For example, something happened in your company, in your ministry, in your church. And if you're just a manager, as soon as that happened, one person messed up in something, and they start to realize maybe just one person, let's talk to a person, let's see what happened, let's see what's going on, let's fill the gap of what we don't know, let the person tell us why, etc. You immediately want to create policies, you immediately want to create rules to avoid anybody else to do it. If you're doing that, you're just a manager. You're just a manager, a protective manager, and you're not a real leader. Leaders de-escalate situations. The leaders are more cautious, are more patient, more act with grace within this situation. So you have to remember that. That's the first one. Leaders are de-escalate the problem. Now, leaders are also peacemakers because they bring people together. When you think about a work environment, any work environment, regardless if it's a church, a ministry, a nonprofit, a company, what do you have? You have people from all different type of backgrounds. And if you have been hiring people well, you probably have all type of people from different places, different countries, maybe with accents like me, people from all over the place, different stories, different family things, and they come together because they all have one purpose or one mission to work in your company, and you inspiring them around that, and you bring them together. So you have Republican and a Democrat, actually be able to work together because you bring them together with one purpose, with one a future. You push them both, you move them both, even they're so different, to one good result in the future, and they both buy into it. That's what leaders do. So you bring people together with one purpose. Now, what a manager does with the opposite of this. If you want to become a good leader, you have to bring people together. If you're just a manager, what do? You don't bring people together. You try to keep them separate. So if you have two people who they don't think the same way, probably you will try to keep them apart. Probably you're just gonna give them instructions separate. Probably you're even gonna treat them different, which is not the best thing. Probably you will hire only people who agree and look and act like you, and you will surround yourself with people that think and act like you and behave like you, and everything in your world is good. If you're doing that, you're just a manager. You're making sure that things happen. A leader will bring people together from different backgrounds without fear that somebody's different, they think different, they talk different, without they have different ideas, without fear of that, because they understand they're bringing people together to one purpose. Everybody with their different strength can take the place, the church, the ministry, the company far, far away, because there's this power, there's strength when these people come together. So that's what a leader does. A manager doesn't do that. They keep the environment pretty equal, pretty the same, everybody the same, you know. Everybody does this, everybody in their own little area, don't interact. No, they think they don't have conflict because there's no conflict at all, because there's no growth. People is not interacting. Great leaders bring people together with one purpose. Also, a great leader will inspire. Now, there's a big difference between inspiring and demanding. And inspiring somebody is not telling them, listen, as leader, we have the authority. As leader, if you're a boss, you have a title, you probably have the authority to make somebody do something, right? And you can make that all day. And that's through demands and declaring this is the way it is. That's the only way to do it. There's no other way to do it. And people never talk. And again, when people stop talking, it's not because you're not listening, they're just not talking. So you're not listening to anything, and you're not growing, you're not getting better, your group, your company, nothing is getting better, because people is just stop talking because you were not listening. So because you just demand, and you just demand and require. And you think, well, I'm like a coach and I require. And listen, there's there's a big difference between demanding demanding and expecting people to do their best. And I guarantee you that people will do not only their very best, they're probably gonna go beyond what the call of duty, if you inspire them and they can see themselves in the purpose in the future that we talked a little bit ago. So leaders inspire, they don't demand. So today I want to tell you those three things. Leaders are peacemakers. They bring people together. They de-escalate conflict. They don't make it worse. They don't make it worse. And they inspire people to move forward. Even now, this is so important these days, because we had COVID, we had crazy demands about COVID. We have the economy is not doing very well. There's things that we don't know what's gonna happen in the future. Some people is afraid, etc. So many things going on, right? You hear all this kind of thing in the news because if you watch news, fear sells. So people is constantly, and we always hearing these things. So as leaders, we have the responsibility to be peacemakers. So when people come to our environment, to our place of work, that when they are under our leadership, they can know, they can feel that you're not making a big deal about every situation. You're a leader who actually you choose your battles on your knees. You're careful about it. Now you bring people together as well. You inspire people. So what you start creating is a safe environment, and that safe environment is priceless. If you are a leader who is a peacemaker, and you create that environment through doing all these things and more things that you can be doing as a peacemaker, and that environment is completely priceless, you are a great leader. So if you're that leader that's right there trying to be a peacemaker in the middle of the pandemic, middle of the economic issues, political issues, and all that stuff, and you're a leader who's, when you bring these people together, you create this environment through de-escalating problems, bringing the conflict to the right place, etc., doing all the things that I just mentioned, you're a great leader. And I want to encourage you to keep doing it, keep trying, keep fighting for it. Because again, if you see it in yourself as a leader, as as your calling to lead others, part of that is to be a peacemaker. And I share something that you should be doing: de-escalating problems, bringing people together, inspiring, um, and creating a safe environment, etc. There's so many other things that you should be doing. You can be encouraging people, you can be remembering important things for your people, make them feel valuable with dignity, honor, and respect. There's so much more that you can do to be a peacemaker, but that's a call. So as a leader, remember, we are peacemakers and we should be doing that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, for stopping during your busy day and listening this podcast. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a great week.